Dr. Steve Pechenik, and this is Steve Talks. Hello, I'm Dr. Pechenik, and let's talk about shithole countries. I grew up and was raised in a shithole country that was called Cuba. Initially, when I was born, and I lived there for 6 years, it was a beautiful country with beautiful people, energetic, luxurious, and wonderful. And, of course, the two Castro brothers came in, communism came in, and turned it into a shithole country. Now let me talk about other shithole countries that I happen to know. No one has done more to create shithole countries than Bill and Hillary Clinton. Let me explain why. When Bill was president of the United States in 1994, over a 6-month period, over 1 million Tutsis were killed by the Hutu at the inspiration of the non-racist country Belgium, non-racist country France, and the Catholic Church, who inspired the Hutus to slaughter the Tutsis, and Bill did not intervene, and he had the opportunity to do that, as well as Hillary Clinton, and guess who else didn't intervene? Susan Rice, who then became, because of her non-intervention, our national security advisor. Let's talk about another country that I happen to know happens to be a shithole, and that's Zimbabwe, because part of my family grew up in Rhodesia, and when Mugabe took over, he only killed 100 to 200,000 of his own people in Zimbabwe and made sure that all the copper, the minerals, and all the assets were taken out of the country. He had a kleptocracy, and eventually, recently, he had to be overthrown after 70 years in power by a military coup. Let's talk about another third country that I know quite well, South Africa, where I literally bought land in Stellenbosch in Franshoek. During the period of time when a pathetic individual named Mbeki came into power right after Mandela. Mbeki grew up and was in the Catholic Church and Catholic schools along with Mugabe. Now you get the idea. Mbeki started to expropriate land in the Natal Zulu land. And what I did was I sold my land that I had in Stellenbosch, and guess what? Took me 2 to 3 years to get my money out of South Africa because it was corrupt, inept, and incompetent. But when I threatened to sue South African Airlines, I got my money out of there. So what are we talking about when we're talking about a corrupt, inept, and shithole of a country, Haiti? Unfortunately, once again, Hillary and Bill Clinton went in there, raped the country, but the country was already in a depression. Let me explain why. When the country had its primary leader, his name was Jacques Duvalier, and I grew up with Haitians, and I liked the Haitians. They were tough, they were smart, and they spoke the French dialect that I spoke out of Toulouse. But what happened with Dr. Duvalier after he cured the smallpox, he created a group called Tonton Macoute that went in and killed all of his opposition, and he made that beautiful country and turned it into a kleptocracy, a corrupt country where only a few wealthy people could dominate the country, and the Clintons could take advantage of it. So it became a shithole country. Now let's go into the third element that made Hillary one of the important leaders of the trifecta of creating shithole countries, and that was Libya. No one has done more damage to the European continent and to Libya and North Africa than Hillary Clinton. When she took over Benghazi, decided to have our ambassador killed, did nothing about it, but at the same time made sure that she overthrew Gaddafi. And when she overthrew Gaddafi, the only man who could control the country, albeit what he might have been before, he at least controlled the country. Thousands of Libyans died, thousands of North Africans died, and now we have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, going into Europe and leading an impoverished life. So when we talk about shithole countries, we're literally talking about countries that are totally corrupt, are controlled by kleptocrats, like the Congo. When you say Congo or you say Zaire in Africa, you mean a country that was run by Mobutu and had corruption as its middle name. So I want to say to you the following, and I say it with all deference. If a piece of shit is in the middle of the street and it smells like shit, it tastes like shit, don't step in it, all right? It is shit. And believe me, there are shithole countries, and I make no apologies for it as a refugee of the Castro brothers. Thank you, and good night. This is Dr. Steve Pachenik, and this is Steve Talks.